Hello, and welcome to Roll for Story, the Sevenfold Maze arc. So, last session, you guys had basically spent most of the time organizing what you were going to do for your performances. You also did a lot of snooping around inside the actual estate itself.
Who would never?
Oh, well, you got to no good. And it seems you've discovered a few things. One, that there is a vault underneath. Heron's personal vault contains scrolls of magic aura to disguise enchantments and things. Enchant like runes or any magical item can be disguised with this spell, so it appears mundane. And you also saw there was a set of powerful rings. They were like gold and black with skulls on them. There were a few weapons, like they looked ornamental and such, like these massive glaives and scimitars, but again, can't really tell if they do have runes or magical abilities, because it seems as though he's used these magical auras to perhaps make these things appear mundane. And what else was there? There's quite a lot of gems and such. Rather than steal anything, you had Taklo fly in through the keyhole and then fly back out.
Yeah.
You also went into the upper levels, and you're not sure whether it's another apartment above. It could be that they stack estates on top of each other, or if it was just a second floor. But there were a set of stairs and a stone wall, like just stone. Nothing, no hatch, no nothing, just stairs leading to just stone. But you managed to use your abilities of molding earth to sneak in through, and there is a pair of female Dao which brandish their great mauls and basically escorted you back out. And at that point, a gargoyle snatched you up and delivered you to Haran. Elias, you had the gold rings, the bands taken off of you, and Tackler managed to sneak in to the private quarters of Haran the Gracious, and there you can see that there's marble pillar with the rings slot over, and then it activates a magic mouth on the pillar that speaks the words of the wearer, effectively. And he overheard everything that Elias has been up to, and he told you to not go through any walls. And he said, "Well, how am I supposed to know? There's so many walls." Forget the exact wording. He's like, "But there's walls everywhere." And I think you went, "Exactly. Don't go through them." So I think that was basically the exchange.
Yeah. We did a lot of law diving. Yeah.
He did, yeah. Eirina did some research into the lore of this plane, learning about the different servants and slaves that these Dao have command over. And I think you learned a bit about, let's see, Great Dismal Delve, the maze works, traveling through stone itself, and bits and bobs like that. And lastly, we spend most of the time, it seems, using our legend lore spell to uncover the secrets of Andi's, or should I say Rahim's, violin that was passed down to her. This violin was it is tied to a bloodline that goes all the way back to one of the 9 muses. And the 9 muses were also originally one radiant element, not god, but rather some sort of raw elemental power. And you also saw that it had some connection or reaction to the frozen flame. So just for you, Cam, quickly, they all sat inside the tiny hut and they did this legend lore spell. When they were doing it and Eirina was in this sort of trance, you saw the frozen flame for the first time ever flicker. And it doesn't do that. It is, by the name, frozen. So to see it suddenly just briefly flicker, thought it might have been a trick of the eye, but you asked the other guys what was going on, and they told you that they were just finding out about this violin and this radiant flame. And you pried another question posed another question to the radiant, to the spell, effectively, to Candlewick, who described the radiant flame. I think you asked what's the connection or something, but the image you got back was of the radiance splitting into positive energy and raw elemental fire, just pure fire, and that blinding light disappeared and was just left with red flame in front of your face. You're starting to get an idea of a web of elements in your head, and Karius has the information on that inside a book. Kesh'an has also seen a mosaic of it, like a mural, we'll say, in the Temple of the Sun and Moon, where he actually gathered that power, the tongue of Sun and Moon, and it was like this kind of watery fountain. Anyway, there's a lot of elements at play here, a lot of information. You don't have to make the connections, but it does seem like there is some sort of connection that is traced all the way back.
And we've guessed that the sort of the sevenfold maze, each of the first 6 layers, is essentially designed to harden Kesh'an's soul in order to reach that 7th layer, which is, yeah.
That's right. Yes. You kind of surmised that Ladorvu's teachings and the description through his scroll does outline 7 different challenges. Well, 6 if you don't count the first layer being that it is mostly for commerce and living space. So 6 levels, 6 challenges, 6 stats in D&D. Yeah, and of course the actual ability itself, you already know what it does, I think, Kesh'an. It's all tied together. So yes, that is the Diamond Soul Scroll.
I'm not looking forward to 3 of those stats.
Well, as I said, there's the potential for, and this would be something needed to discuss with Andi, at least if you need to buff your intelligence, we do have an item for that.
Yes.
And this is why everyone sort of decided to come along with you. They've offered their help, their aid in overcoming these challenges. So
let's face it, Kesh'an would look lovely in that tiara.
I know.
That's very true.
Okay. And a couple of other things you need to do, your goals. Obviously, you need to get to Sarizu, who's apparently this very powerful Dao slave master. She knows all the information about slaves that are bought, sold, and their locations. So in order to do that, you kind of need to get some prestige in the market of that. One goal is to obviously do this performance, enter into this competition, but that's still 2 days away. So in the meantime, if you did want to do some arena fighting, that is totally an option. You would definitely get some quick prestige that way. And it might also be an opportunity to talk to some of the others. I mean, you did get some information already from the pit fighter who was down there. Honestly, it's up to you what you guys want to do at this point. You've also sent off little Otto. Yeah, you've sent off the little armadillo. Yeah, OT. Yeah, so you've sent him off to get some information potentially on the other competitions, the other performers.
Do we want to start with Taklo in the room?
Yes. Okay, then we'll do that. So Taklo snuck in.
Yep.
He's looking around.
Yeah, obviously there appears to be papers on this desk, so he's gonna hop up, and Karius is gonna look for his eyes because I surmise it's probably in Terran. Assuming you can write Terran. I'm not actually sure what that would look like.
You can. It looks like Dwarvish at first.
Which Karius also speaks.
That's why I say, because you're like, oh, is that Dwarvish? And then you realize it's actually the same script, but it's put into a different wording. So Dwarven and Primordial are the same script, believe it or not. They look kind of like squarish, like runes and such. Yeah, nonetheless, you see some of the papers, and you also see sort of tablets with like carvings into them. Probably how they send and receive letters most of the time. Stone letters and tablets. Okay, so on these, there's first of all definitely the invitation to the competition, and he himself has been basically personally invited to join the competition.
Okay.
There isn't just any old people who can join, apparently. They want the best of the best.
Does it say who it's from?
Yeah, it is from the it'd be not the what?
Not the Khan?
Not from the Great Khan himself, but it'd be from his office, effectively.
Okay, so does it say from the office of...
Exactly, yeah. It says that the Great Khan has invited you to... So it is definitely from the Great Khan, but it's not penned by
Does
him.
it have his name on it? Or is it just the Great Khan?
It is just the Great Khan, yes.
Okay.
Now know that names have power as well as they do.
Yep.
Genies and all that.
Does it outline any further details of the competition?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So the competition is very strange in that all of the acts perform at exactly the same time. There is no stages one after the other. It's all one massive performance. Apparently, it is set in a ringed arena where the Great Khan sits in the middle and observes all of the acts at the same time. He does this via some peculiar power, and there's actually potentially a picture of the Great Khan himself, and you see a multi-headed genie, effectively like faces that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can't see how many faces there are, but like they all wrap around this multi-headed like figure. He looks massive and rotund. He's bedecked in jewelry. In almost every space on his arms and shoulders is just like gold mantles and silks.
It almost seems like the competition is to sort of keep his focus on you, sort of thing. Almost like...
Yeah. Apparently.
Okay.
There are so many acts going on at once, though. It's gonna seem almost impossible for anyone else possibly like enjoy it as much unless you were seated next to the act. In other words, like the closest act. But the Great Khan has the power to be able to observe all acts simultaneously.
Does it?
And what this means for the competition is, it means that there's other acts going on, and you're seeing the other acts at the same time.
So adaptability could be important.
Exactly.
Does it mention any rules about not interfering with the other acts?
No. Not physically, anyway. I mean, you're not like directly allowed to interfere with other acts. And there's like small print on how much detail there is to that.
Because I was thinking, for example, with the act that Elias has in mind, if he creates like this rampaging bull monster and it just accidentally runs through one of the other acts, disrupting it a bit. Are we going to get in trouble for that?
That would be a direct interference. Yes.
Okay, so if we want to interfere, it's got to be
non-direct.
Yeah, subtle and non-direct. Okay.
In other words, if there's a loud bang or a boom that goes off and everyone hears it, that's a non-direct interference.
Okay.
And if there's a like a brilliant flash that sort of distracts, then I guess that's non-direct as well, as long as it's not like aimed and directly towards that group of performers.
Okay.
Likewise, if the ground shakes and rumbles and someone loses their balance from a tremor, again, it's kind of like non-direct.
Okay. Interesting. Is there anything else on the table that might catch Taklo's eye?
Oh, yes. And at this point, I will allow you to make an investigation to see if there's anything that
Investigation is
seems a little bit more
intelligence.
hidden. Okay.
See, this is where Taklo needs to be wearing the tiara.
Yeah. Other scrolls and documents outline different performers that he's been keeping an eye on. You can definitely see that he's been talent hunting, and some of them he's kind of scrapped, some of them he's got more to the forefront of the pile, and he's got names crossed off as well. Some he's circled.
The one he seems interested in, does it suggest like what sort of performer they are?
Yeah, it looks like he's been looking for a mix. He hadn't fully decided on what he was going to go with until basically today, where he snatched you guys up.
Okay.
And let me see what else. There is a stone safe beneath the desk. You've got drawers on the desk, stone drawers, but this safe is much more secure. It's separate from it, and it's underneath.
Taklo will have a look at the safe for a moment and just be like, and then Karius is just gonna sort of probably lean over to Andi and just be like, just sort of whispers, actually, no, Karius took off the bracelet, so he's not wearing them at the moment because he was in the thing. I wouldn't say put them back on yet. So he just sort of whispers to Andi and just like, Taklo's found a safe. Do you think we should look in it?
I mean, it's always looking safe, but I don't really want to piss this big guy off.
So maybe save that for like when we're on our way out of here, perhaps.
Save it.
It would be safer not to.
Yes.
Right.
It's a stone combination lock with like runes and in Terran.
Okay. Taklo's going to have a look around the rest of the rooms. Are these like bookshelves?
Yes, they would be, yeah.
Okay, Taklo will have a look, see if any books jump out at him as a title.
Okay. Give me another investigation check.
Okay. You can't just press the up button on this one, that's a shame.
Infiltration music. Hello.
Something confronted.
Taklo needed the infiltration music. He can't work without it.
Okay. A lot of these books, again, kind of stuffed on this big stone shelf, packed together. With it being stone and underground, a lot of these books gather dust. One of them, however, seems devoid of it, as if being taken out and put back several times and been perused. And sure enough, it's also not as tightly packed. It's in a more spacious area of the bookshelf. Pull it out, and looking at it, or rather, kind of carry it out. It's heavy, in fact, for Taklo to even like pull out slightly. But you get to see the tile as it's away from the shelf, and it's how to describe this? Okay. It is a book on incredibly powerful enchantment spells. I'm going to have you roll an Arcana check in addition to this natural 20, because the spells in here are quite powerful.
Okay, let's see.
I want to see if you've heard of these types of spells. Apparently you have. The DC was 19, by the way, because they are 9th level spells. Specifically, the power word spells.
Ah.
And enchantment ones, it's strange that power word this and that would be enchantment, but it is. Like, just check the other ones.
Isn't it?
Yeah, they're enchantment.
Yeah, power
Very
word
strange.
kill because you compel them to die.
Yeah. So this is where you're suddenly realizing, you're thinking, enchantment spells. Well, this would be tricksy, and actually, no, these are power words in order to completely debilitate or outright kill someone. And it's just a little bit daunting that this is the one that's been recently perused, and you can see that the spell is of such a level that it's hard to find users of it. That's first of all. Hard to find items that can create the effects, i.e., like scrolls and magical items in general, potions, that sort of thing. But it seems like he's been looking through this. I'm going to say it's like a historic kind of document, basically outlining where these spells first originated, how they're harnessed, and when they've been used historically, because they're so powerful. They've only ever been used once or twice within like some circles. And so he's looked this up, and you can tell he's also looked up certain magical items that contain these spells.
I'm trying to think what magical items would contain those spells. The only thing I can think of that could mimic those is like not even the wish items wouldn't, because effectively those only really mimic 8th level or lower, other than wish itself. Interesting. Taclo's just gonna sort of go, just gonna slide that back, shift a little bit of dust in the right place. So I've looked at it for a moment. And then... So that's definitely something he'd want hidden. The safe has probably got something, and obviously it's letters, but... Because this is the room we weren't meant to go in, right? Essentially.
That's right. Yep.
I feel like there must be something more in here. Is this like a foot thing? Like a chest at the bottom of the bed?
Yes, it is, actually.
Does it appear to be locked?
No.
Tatko will just gently lift it open and have a look inside.
Inside, you see female dresses and like adornments.
Almost like his wife's attire.
It's very neatly folded and looked after. It looks like he doesn't use this for his own clothes. This is, yes, perhaps his former wife's belongings. They've been neatly folded, and you can smell sort of scent of perfume as you open it. And there looks to be maybe this sort of white dress with glitter and what's the word, like embroidery all the way through it. It looks like a wedding dress, but it's sort of like a sash as well. It's like a wedding sash in a sort of sense. But it has definitely got a veil. And that's in here as well.
Yeah, Taco looks at it for a moment and then it's just like... He'll have a quick look under the bed, but then he's just gonna bamf, you know, just Karius will de-summon him and re-summon him after he's had just one last look around.
Okay. I'm gonna say that's mostly everything as you look around. Other things just seem to be like perhaps sort of mundane. There's sort of paintings, there's sculptures, and there's a few bottles of some sort of expensive looking wine.
I would just drag Taklo back, but there's walls in the way. Because essentially, he's gonna... Karius will de-summon and re-summon him, sort of thing.
Sure.
Because you can do that. And just be like, Well, that was an interesting thing to find out. Are the other slaves in here at the moment?
There are at this point. You were talking with the other entertainers
I can
and
remember
sort
if
of
they
asking if they could. They were asking if they could be a part of the overall
were. Yes.
performance, whether you need extra hands, musicians as backing musicians,
Oh.
or costume designers.
From what I understand, it seems like we're going to be competing at the same time, so providing we can get in sync and, you know, the bigger and more impressive our performance, the better. So having some extra hands on deck, or that's probably not an appropriate saying down in the Earth Elemental plane, that's more of a water elemental thing. Having some extra miners in the pit, I don't know. That it would be helpful.
Yeah. Now we've only got like 2.5 days, so
Yes.
we've got to get costumes together now, like quickly.
Yes. Right. Elias, you've got your ideas on the performance, right?
Few of us are trained in the arts of lithomancy, just the basic forms, enough to sort of raise up platforms and stages, perhaps.
That could be useful, certainly.
Yeah, I could do that.
Or crude sculptures.
Yes. Right. And obviously, Andi, you've got your whole mime thing that you want to do, right?
That is what we're working on, yes.
Okay. So
The performance could be called "What's Yours Is Mime."
That was
For
true.
what we have in mind, I don't know if that will work.
or
Maybe
what?
good.
It kind of could.
What's yours is mime.
Mhm. I
And
mean,
what's
mine is mine.
What's mine is mime. Yeah, I like that. Right. So what do you guys need to get that performance to be as good as possible? What would help?
Oh wait, the other servants are in here. I can't talk.
Yeah.
um,
Obviously, you've got the mime. So what else do you need to make it the ultimate performance? Potentially, if we could, I just had one idea. If when you're doing the miming, Eirina, if we had like the lithomancers maybe actually like make like stuff as you're miming it, like almost like you're the one manifesting it, that could be kind of cool. But anyway, continue, Andi.
we certainly need costumes. I will try and draw some mock-ups that they can work from if they have to do that.
Of course.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if any of the rest of are there any other musicians who want to take part?
I'm gonna start miming for props. So like
Yeah.
a box with a lid, and then like a boat. So like I'm rowing a boat.
Is that
Digging a grave?
is that charades?
Try a performance and see how well you do.
Yeah. There's a cello player, by the way. There's a pianist. Oh my god!
You want them to dig your own grave? What?
Yeah, that's what they interpreted it.
Karius will try to understand.
Rather grim. You sure about that?
I think they want.
I'm literally going to go over to Andi, lift her cape, and start waving it around.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally mimed a box and what looked like digging. So that's like a coffin in the grave.
I think they might want to be buried at sea.
No.
And the cape is the sail?
I mean, yeah, but no.
I mean, blue fabric would be good. Lots of blue fabric that can be swooshed around on the stage.
I have a pen and paper, and I just write down what I need.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, what if, rather than swashing it around on stage, you guys can like move the earth, right? Could you just make like, if you put the blue fabric on the ground and made the earth ripple beneath it?
It makes me think very much like how they did the sea in Kubo.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. Okay. So the sea is a big theme in yours?
This is part of it,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, we think we only really need a box and a boat.
Box.
And then I'm gonna do like, I'm gonna just draw a rough sketch on this bit of paper of like a grand castle or palace of some sort, and
Just like a background.
Oh, so like
you
a
can.
set piece sort of thing at the
Yeah.
back.
Hmm.
All right.
That we can definitely do.
Yeah, I think getting an actual castle might be a bit of a stretch. I was about to say,
No,
damn.
We can
I
make,
get
we
right
can
on the
definitely
paper. Worth the shot.
Right. Outline anything you would like as a backdrop, and we'll get to work.
How about you, Elias? Kesh'an, what do you need? Other than pizza. Pizza is important.
Probably same sort of thing. It would be easier if someone else was doing platforms instead of me having to do everything. Although I could do everything.
I mean, if you instruct them on what to do and they're capable of doing it, I'm sure they'll help. So that will, you know, maybe just
Mold
think
Earth concentration.
Mold Earth, I believe, is concentration.
was thinking at the
Okay.
time Kesh'an here ran on the rain itself. If you could like make
Earth,
like
yeah.
little floating steps, maybe for him to do some cool stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah.
that
That
with
would be cool.
raising platforms up.
Or if he's meant to be representing a DAO, they're sort of like genie folk, so they don't necessarily walk. So if we could have some way to make him float, maybe pack his pockets with sand and you can just lift him.
Yeah, we could do that. Pack his pockets with sand, or his shoes. Pack his shoes with sand,
Yeah.
and then
Maybe
they
have
can
like a
lift him up.
constant like wind, like sandy wind effect, almost like a dust devil beneath him. Maybe.
Yeah, and they can lift him up where need be.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, if you demonstrated what you wanted with your Mold Earth spell, we can then replicate that, and you'll free you up to cast something else.
1 sec. How long does it last? Oh, it lasts 2 hours. So yeah, I've still got it active. So technically, yeah, I'll demonstrate the sort of thing I want.
Is
Mhm.
there a sort of an, rather than doing it on the inside, is there sort of like a little outside area, like a courtyard or something, where we could do this?
Yeah.
And outside? What's the outside?
Well,
Not
and
in
outside the
a
mansion.
building, like
Everything is inside,
The
technically.
outside of the mansion, so we can demonstrate.
so like an area where you can see the not
The
a
feasting hall is quite spacious. If we move the
Oh.
tables out of the way.
that could work.
Oh,
That could
yeah,
work. That way we.
Yeah.
I'm just worried if we do it in here, we might damage this nice piano or piss someone
Yeah.
off.
Certainly, let's head over there. So they scoot the tables to the side and chairs. Now you've got this large hall to sort of practice as a makeshift stage.
Wait, is this a bar?
It is, yes.
all right.
All right.
Kesh'an, get on the table.
Karius isn't involved in the performances, so he's just got to look around and start mixing drinks.
Does Kesh'an wear shoes?
No. It's kind of
Alright.
like foot wrap.
I get some dust, some dust and dirt, and I rub it all over his foot wraps. And then I
Mhm.
use
Kesh'an looks visibly gross.
I usually got a foot massage, bitch. And I use a move earth to lift him up, and basically take him over to the next table, like this one down here. And he just has to move his legs as if he's like doing acrobatics or whatever. Make it look cool.
Is it like a platform that like lifts up and moves like a pillar?
think I'm just using the earth that is on him.
Oh,
So-
so it's a platform that rises up out of the ground, you mean? When you say mold earth, I expect it to be like connected to the ground still, and you lift it up out of
But
it.
yeah, I can't actually just control the earth. I actually has to. I can't move
No,
earth
that's what I thought.
specific.
But what I
Well,
mean is, if you targeted an area, you could have it look like it's moving when it's actually just pillars going up one at a time, creating like a bridge, and then as he goes onto the next one, the ones behind it lower.
Yeah, we'll do that.
See what I mean?
I thought I'd be able to just move the earth that I've just put on him. But apparently I
Well,
can't.
the lithomancers can definitely aid in doing other things as well. That sort of create the effect that you want. These will come down to basically rolls on the day of the performance to see how well you can
Because we're gonna try and make
kind
it
of
like
manipulate the earth.
yeah.
Because there's room for artistic flair with this, especially as you've got like helping hands.
Well, I can move the earth until the big finale, and then they'll have to take over.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll definitely take over and that frees you up to cast something else,
Yeah,
either a spell or an animate object, whatever you want.
yeah.
Okay. So as you're practicing this little motion, trying to keep in sync to move all these pillars, so and you're able to sort of, as you said, you could perform some sort of acrobatic feat as you cross these pillars.
Yeah.
Definitely a dynamic way to get him around on the stage itself.
And we could do it like stairs if need be, or
Mm-hmm.
even as To be fair, he can climb on walls, so he could be jumping from pillars
From
that
pillar,
climb.
yeah.
Yeah,
you
kind
can
of
run.
like a scene from Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like wall running everywhere.
that's it. Yeah, and like if you raised up two pillars, you could have him wall jump from one to the other.
I had the pillars come out from the walls, and as they're coming out, he's jumping on them. And that sort
And
of
it
stuff.
creates this, as you're watching it, it kind of creates this sense that he is traversing great distance, even though it's all taking place in this stage. It feels like he's going on this kind of long travel, this adventure, as if he's climbing a mountain almost.
Just be showing kind of like facial expressions of like, that painful struggle.
Yeah.
Like when I've reached the end, it's just overjoyed, very overly dramatic.
Yeah,
Alright.
you definitely have it like he's on his way to defeat this monster.
And I have an idea of what you're gonna fight.
Mm. Or it could even be as some sort of chase sequence if you wanted. There's plenty of ways to sort of describe it,
Yes.
how you want to tell the story.
We have it where he's going to save someone.
Yeah,
Is
sort of
my
like a
idea.
rescue mission.
Yes, a rescue mission. And that's why he's running so fast and so far,
Okay,
defeating his
so
enemies along the way.
so who is he rescuing in this story?
Turn around and look at one of the lithomancers.
What, me?
How do you feel about? Well, you're probably used to being chained up right now. Yeah, this works.
Do you want me to be a damsel in distress? Is that right?
If that's okay.
Of course, if that's part of the act.
Or if you want, it could be that when he's fighting the enemy, you work together.
Oh, sort of unchain me, and then we're fighting
Yes,
back to back.
Kind
I
of
like
like
that
a
idea.
brothers in arms kind of situation.
because not all damsels are in distress. They can fight for themselves.
We can definitely weave that into the story. Puts a twist on it. Perhaps we were once. Like, were we related, or were we brothers in arms, or were we were we lovers, maybe? Whatever you want to weave into the story.
What are you thinking? Do you want to be saving a lover? Do you want to be saving a long lost friend,
Comrade?
comrade?
Yeah.
Saving a comrade from the clutches of death.
All right.
Eirina just mimes like Llewellyn.
I think that will at least give us some passion towards this.
Cool.
Okay.
The only thing is, and it's going to be quite random, the first few enemies you fight, even I won't know what they are.
You're
Oh,
doing sort of summoning spell?
Out of character, Chris. I have the deck of illusions.
Oh. Excellent. Okay, cool. So you'll spend a couple cards summoning things for him to
Yeah,
punch.
1 fight, 2 fight, and then big boss.
Nice.
But the big boss isn't going to be a card, it's going to be something I bring into play.
Perfect. All right. Sounds good. A little bit of unpredictability.
Yeah.
That way it'll make the sort of reaction genuine. A true artist knows how to think on their feet. So I think those are
Yeah.
good additions. And then the set piece, the final finale, the crescendo, shall we say, is fighting this Minotaur. You said.
No, could be. I could make a Minotaur.
Was it you was gonna do a Gorgon or a?
I was thinking like a metallic wolf,
Oh right.
but basically it's a construct spirit.
Okay. That is quite elaborate. You wanted it to be a mystical beast, no matter what. I
Yes.
think a
something
metal
exotic.
wolf.
What did DAOs hate?
Hate? Well. I'd say they necessarily hate.
What
But
did they dislike? Other
they're
than
always at odds with Jinn.
Jin.
They are the air equivalent of their
Oh.
air genies.
I was about to say I'm not a fan of gin either. I much prefer rum.
Ah, you were literally stealing the joke I was thinking. I made the smart move and didn't say it.
Well, here's the thing. I could only make it out of stone or clay or metal. So if I make it out of metal, I guess it could be an engine.
The opposite is also true. The Jinn despise both the Afriti and the Dao. But their slave taking is one of the most infuriating things to the Jinn.
So essentially, the ultimate thing would be some sort of representation of freedom through a creature, like the opposite of slavery.
An eagle.
Yes,
An Aarakocra. It's the closest thing to an eagle.
the Jinn still have their servants and retainers, but
Now,
they may leave at any time.
how big a thing can you make, Elias?
Let's see.
Jinn have even been known to undertake raids and crusades against the Dao in order to free slaves and embarrass the opposing noble.
One sec. I have to look it up because it's not actually on my thing. Come on, Lord. Medium construct.
So nothing too ridiculous then. I was going to suggest the giant scorpion that we thought before you met us, because that'd be a pretty epic battle, but doesn't quite represent the sort of thing we're going for.
Well, if we made a costume for the for the construct, it could appear much bigger.
That's true.
The problem would be you'd have to, once I've created it, you'd have to rush on stage and give it a costume.
How long does your spell last?
It lasts up to an hour.
Hmm.
You
But
could cast it before the performance starts.
I
And
could.
keep it in the background.
Or,
That means I can't do any of the moving earth stuff. Someone else would have to do that.
or how, depending on what we want to do costume-wise, if we could maybe, as part of the effect of this being summoned or whatever, or of coming out, do some sort of blinding flash or big puff of smoke temporarily to obscure, give them the
Costume
time
change.
to do their costume change, and
Definitely.
potentially also distract the other groups.
Like,
He's thinking all angles now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you
Reason
look,
why Karius is the manager.
we do that. You lay the costume flat on the floor, and I can raise the construct up from the bottom, and it'll go into the costume.
That could work. But I feel like we do need some moments where we need some either really loud noises, really bright flashes, or something that not only catches the eye of the Khan and those watching, but will potentially throw the others off. Because we're going to be performing at the same time as everyone else.
I can do loud noises. I got shatter.
At this point, Toshi enters the room. I see you're practicing your routine already.
Yes.
Most excellent. I have done some research and I have outlined the details of the competition.
Excellent.
Sure enough, you will be. And he looks at this table in the middle. It'll work as a demonstration. And he begins making his own illusions and sifting sand out of his long sleeves that begin to animate around. He sort of makes out this almost model version of the arena, where you see a circular stands that are like large stone staircases. Almost looks like an antlion's den, and in the very center is a gigantic round throne. Almost looks like a stone shield raised out of the floor, and on top of that is where the Great Khan sits. He says, and then a surrounding ring, a ring stage, where each act performs on a segment of said stage. You will be here, and he kind of gestures to one of the segments, and you are entering in 2 acts, are you not?
Yes.
Then it would be advantageous to sit your stage, your 2 performances on opposite sides of the ring.
Yes.
This way it does not interfere with your other performances.
How big are these segments, roughly? Be good to know what sort of area we have to play with without accidentally interfering with other performances.
It is as grand as Great Khan himself. You will have plenty of space. The exact dimensions? Probably at least 100 foot by about 70 foot.
Yeah, pretty good.
Well, and
So-
that's good to know, because no, actually, that probably wouldn't be a good idea. Actually, I was thinking something that I could do that fills that sort of area, but would probably not be a good thing to do around Earth elementals and stuff.
So,
Kara's thinking control wins. Just like, yeah.
so the Great Khan.
Yeah.
He's sat in the center. Does he have like
Mhm.
many heads or many eyes or?
He does, and as he creates that illusion, he enlarges it. So the sands swirl around this enormous Khan sat down. And not only has he got multiple heads, he has sort of multiple arms as well. And yeah, he has a basically 360-degree vision with all of his faces, just look in every segment. It seems like he's got effectively like one pair of eyes for every segment.
So no matter where he's going, he's heading in the right direction.
Yeah. The Great Khan sees all, and even outside of his immediate vision, some say the Khan knows the location of every single gem, every coin and gold in the Dismal Dell.
Okay.
Cool.
Do you have an idea how many other acts will be performing?
Let me see. Judging by the size of these segments, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6.
Hmm.
If they were to add more, then it might overcrowd the ring.
Okay. And in the end, is it just the Khan who judges, or do the other Dao get a vote? Or
He gestures to the ring again, and where the stands kind of meet the ring, there is another set of smaller stands, and he says, "There is indeed a panel of Dao judges as well, but it seems that the ultimate decision will be the Great Khan. But I suppose there's some sway. The council themselves will be in attendance,
Hmm.
so there's a lot at stake here. A lot of prestige to be gained."
Do you know of any of the other performers, acts? Do any of them have people like myself and Andy? You know, ones who can do stuff
Musician?
with, but people that can do stuff with them music.
I believe there are musicians. I've heard rumor of a, a juggler, a lithomancer, and indeed one like yourself, a sort of musical performer.
A musical performer who can make things
I
happen.
was going to be Chad.
All can make things happen. I believe that the Dao and those who work for them are gifted individuals capable of making illusions, magical, elaborate displays of power.
I don't think you're getting what I'm saying.
You're looking for the buzzword?
You know, magic through music.
Warlocks, yes, there will be plenty of warlocks.
I don't like this guy.
do you know the races of any who will be taking part?
With the bases?
The
You mean like their
races.
layers? Oh, race? Well, we are supposed to be of non-Dao heritage, obviously, because they are pitting their own entertainers against one another. Anything non-Dao would be... I think there's a troop of Sandmen. They are like lesser elementals, but they resemble humanoid swirling sand. There are dwarves, minotaurs, gnomes, perhaps even a few drow. Many are there's no real exact type of race. There will most likely be Earth Genasi.
Just trying to see if there'd be anything particularly exotic.
So, this arena, this pit, would we be able to partake in that? Because if we're gonna win this whole performance competition,
Mm-hmm.
being known already would be in our favor, because then people are likely to look our way more than others.
Indeed, if you wish to gain preliminary prestige, there are pit fights ongoing throughout the day, every day.
Plus,
So
I believe the Catman over there likes to have a good rumble.
I can organize a pit fight for you immediately if you wish.
Are they singles, teams, or
They are normally one-on-one,
to the
and
death?
there are
Or
no until one of them is knocked out. There are two different leagues, one for the untrained, and one for those who are.
Hmm.
The untrained can get very scrappy. Normally rounds last only a few seconds before one is knocked out, whereas the more trained are usually down to the wire, fighting until eventually one gives out.
what do you think, Catman?
Willing to give anything a go if it'll improve our chances.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of unarmed combat, 'cause these are unarmed fights, right?
They are, yes.
You're the only one of
Effectively
us
stripped.
who really knows much.
Good. Sure.
If any of you wish to enter into the untrained league, there is a potential.
Do
Untrained league.
Yes. Literally just ones who are uninitiated in the forms of martial combat and such.
when you say
look-
unarmed, do instruments count as being armed?
Yes,
I'm
that
guessing
would
no
be
magic is
considered
allowed.
Indeed. This is simply a bare knuckle brawl.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
I
Well-
shall put you in for an untrained league then, Elias?
Do we keep our armor?
You are effectively stripped down.
Oh. Tackling with our tackle in the wind. I see.
Not
Alright,
quite
They're
that.
likely given a loincloth at the very least.
No, sure, why not?
Like, if it's not to the death, I'm kind of tempted.
Probably want to. It's good. All right. Well.
But Eirina has, like, 0 strength, so it could be very entertaining.
I have.
Karius looks at Eirina, probably seeing like perhaps a slight thing, and it looks like our mute once ago.
The last time I had a good tavern brawl.
Obviously, the more hardy and strong you are, you will have advantages. But there have been known to be those with evasive footwork who can come out on top.
If punching
Kesh'an's
is
still tapped on.
if punching is strength based,
Mm-hmm.
would slapping be dex based? No.
I'm not
Yeah.
really the expert on this.
Oh, I meant Chris. No.
Slapping deck space. Maybe Kesh'an could teach you a few things in terms of dexterous fighting rather than strength. But I wouldn't say you'd be able to go in there raw, no training, and just suddenly
Yeah.
start slapping people.
Yeah. Joshi, do you know if I can't remember the name of the woman that we're looking to meet? Shirizu? Is that it?
That's correct, yeah.
Is she gonna be likely to be at the pits or the bardic competition?
Cerezu will most likely be at the bardic competition, but she has been known to drop in at the arena, the pit. I believe it's called the Anvil Arena. Though most of the time she is seen lounging and wasting away the hours in what's it called? There's this private palace. There's sort of a lounge. I think it's like a temple as well. I'll have to look it up, but she most of the time spends her days like drinking and lounging away.
No, good to know.
She doesn't like to have to do her job.
Well, who does like to do their job, really?
Well, some enjoy it. Others try to skive and well, don't let them tell you I said that. But she
Before
does
we,
seem to skirt her duty as the slave master.
so before we go and do anything, what is there a time down here?
There is.
Because like,
Most people use sand timers.
because like, we set off Bottom Mountain.
You see him reach into one of his large, long sleeves, and he pulls out a sand timer of his own. And
And here,
you see that no matter which way he turns, this kind of like a frame, like a ring, a stone ring. What's it called? A gyro. Yeah, it's like a gyro. No matter which way he holds this gyro, you see that the sand timer is always facing down. And he says, when this empties, it flips and begins emptying from the top again.
okay.
These
Nice.
measure the hours.
How do you measure the days? Or
Every 24 revolutions.
how do you know how many revolutions it's been unless you're constantly watching it?
Every time it revolves, you see the gyro's got like two rings. One of the rings goes down a notch.
Ah, see. Okay.
So the gyro rotates in of itself. It's like he's got a mini orbital. It's like he's got a mini like a ore in his pocket. But
So
he says
time
most
is
of these are magically enchanted to be able to do that. Others use much more mundane methods. It's just a normal sort of sand timer.
so going off the amount of rings, the time is very late. Okay.
It is.
So sleep time. Arena in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Whilst you guys fight, I will network.
Yeah. Do we have sleeping quarters? You don't.
You do, yes. You are seen for those if you wish.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you think we'd have time to get any merch whipped up before the fights? Or before the bard tournament? You know, make some money on the side.
Yes.
Yeah. There's also betting in the pit itself.
Yeah. Do you know anyone that makes T-shirts or wristbands or customized ones? Maybe ones that say "We love the Kiasters."
Sure, you can get those engraved fairly swiftly.
Or what would
Oh,
Kesh'an do?
I was just gonna say that.
I'm a Kiar star.
If you want to put them to your basically your helpers would work immediately.
Yeah.
They can carve in some stone bracelets or Or
Yeah, I mean-
or control bracelets.
We're probably not going to need them for the arena fights, but if we could get some merch ready before the sort of actual tournament, then maybe have people going around selling them whilst we're doing it, that before the bar off, then yeah, that could work. You can get some, you know, maybe some bracelets, maybe some little flags.
That sounds... Oh, sounds delightful.
We get like the equivalent of like foam fingers, but like stone fingers, and it just says on it, "This is quite Andy."
Uh,
And I didn't do that one.
In my head, I'm just picturing from one of the Harry Potter films where Luna has like the lion's head to like roar, but just have as Kesh'an's head, and it just goes, "That's racist." Every now and then. Or, "Where's my egg?"
Oh, yeah, stone eggs, but they have a button on them, and when you press them, it does like an 8-bit tune of the Kesh'an song.
That might be a bit much in the time we have, but I feel like if we ever get an action figure line going, I feel like one of the separately sold accessories should be an Egbert.
Anyway,
Tell me I'm wrong.
back to the game.
This is part of the game. This is literally Karius trying to think of other ways to like get the Dow and stuff on his side, which is making the money. He's playing this from all sorts of angles.
I've just recalled the name of where Stevie often takes her spa days.
Spa.
It's known as the Tranquilla Dome.
Maybe we could do the arena, and then while we're bruised and battered, take ourselves to the spa.
Or is that only for the Dow?
It is mostly for Dow, but there are servants there as well. Plenty of servants.
Okay.
Usually for the Dow's enjoyment.
Maybe pitch it to the big man himself.
Yeah.
Maybe he wants a spa day tomorrow.
Yeah. Question for you, Doshi. Have you ever been to any of the other layers down here, or you just a first layer guy?
I'm gonna roll for that. He's been. I've been to the first and second there.
Ah,
No further.
anything exciting about the second we should know if we ever go there?
I wouldn't suggest going there. Mostly, you can get very trapped in the second layer. It isn't as safe as the first as well. Areas where it is uninhabitable for your kind. No air, no light, and passages are often blocked, only moved by muscular slaves.
Oh,
And
people.
they do not know what lies beyond each passage either. They are simply
So what you're saying is we need to win the Minotaur and use him to dig us holes down there if we go down there.
That would be what I would say one part of the puzzle. The region is blocked by massive stones, but they must also be moved in a specific pattern in order to pass.
Is this Pokemon?
Well,
Not
There
out
are-
of game. Is this Pokemon where you're gonna
Or
use
Zelda,
strength?
or like, to be honest, like almost any RPG. At any point, they almost always have a pushing puzzle.
So that's the strength-based one.
I wouldn't say it is entirely strength.
It's
either, though.
also intelligence based by the sounds of it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe wisdom.
some stones.
You have to be perceptive.
So what stops someone from just doing what most of the Dow can do? You know, just moving.
The Dao are free to roam the second region.
Yeah, but what if someone could do that? Would it make it a lot easier?
Hmm. No, there are other issues. Each stone holds large gems in their center. They reflect light towards the next stone in line.
Ah, so you have to
And
get them in the right pattern in order to. It's like the Kesh'an. It's like the mirror puzzle.
The what?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You remember that, Andi, Eirina, right? The mirror puzzle.
in the Temple of the Sun.
Within the
Yeah.
temple.
Sorry, out of character. James, how do you know about the mirror?
Because they told us.
Yeah, okay. We didn't do that path.
No.
So whilst raw strength is one part of the puzzle, if you were to simply push around these boulders, you might activate a security measure. If you align them in a wrong
Good to know.
alignment.
Good to know.
So, why did you go there?
Well, there are still now estates and abodes that reside within the second region, not as many as populous as the first, but some like to be a bit more removed from society or the city, you should say.
So, who would be the main guy to speak to?
I've
Argyle?
only been as a messenger. That's
Yeah, who are you a messenger to? Like, who's the go-to guy down there? Or girl? Or non gendered rock formation?
let's see. There was a Jin. Sorry, yeah, no, there was a Dao named Zalakar. He held a stronghold. Yes, Zalakar. He had a stronghold within the second region, and there were disputes between, I believe, ownership of a particular set of gems. There was like an inheritance, I believe.
Alright. That's interesting. Who are the people upstairs?
The upstairs areas are off limits.
Yeah, I quickly learned that. Even though you only told me that the off limits was the right hand corner.
Indeed, they are consorts of the of Heron the Gracious.
Consorts.
Every DAO has a team of advisors, whether that they be financial or anything really.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
sort of his so-called butler / messenger. I do all the sorts of errands and liaisons between DAO.
You're a very good butler. And I wink at him and he feels good inside and inspired.
Yeah,
We're gonna sleep anyway.
sure, yeah, you are.
Keep him on my side. He's inspired.
You show just as much grace as our Heron. Aran, even. But anyways, if there's any more questions you wish to ask me in the morning, please do so. You will find me here in the feasting hall.
Right.
Bedtime.
To bed.
Yes, I shall lead you to your room.
To bed, to rest our weary head.
You're led into these chambers where you're given basically a stone slab as
Awesome.
a mattress, and for the pillow is a slightly softer stone slab. It's probably made out of like a malleable clay that you can basically put your head against and make your own groove effectively. There are, however, silk blankets. There's that at the very least.
Karius has an idea for himself. He's gonna get his 2 glaives, wedge them in the ground, get a silk blanket, and tie it like a hammock between the 2 glaives.
Hey, not bad. Good shout. Yeah, you get some good sleep. The rest of you, it's very uncomfortable.
Any hut?
Well, given
Tiny hut.
I mean, you can tiny hut, sure.
So she probably
Yeah.
falls asleep quite quickly.
Yeah,
That's
and Andy would be used to it. Karius is just like, I am used to sleeping on the deck of a ship, but you know what? I can also sleep in a hammock, so hammock it is.
Elias is probably used to it anyway. He did spend 9 months in a negative realm tunnel.
Oh god, yeah, he did.
That's got the
Yeah.
softest floor.
You're all adventurers. You're used to be able to sleep in a hard cold floor anyway. But
Tiny
It
hut
does
to keep
seem-
it heated.
it does seem like Doshi does say most slaves don't even get this. They would often be basically given a corner of the room, a cramped, dirty, and dusty corner.
Like the ones who are going to be helping us perform.
Mhm. They have their own quarters, much similar to yours.
Okay. I was going to say, if they get a damp, dusty corner, they can come in here with us.
Some of them seem to crash on the sofas as well.
Okay.
They know not to leave a mess, however. And they usually tidy up after themselves. Now, good night, and he leaves the room. Throughout the night, however, as most of you are trying to get to sleep, you become aware of sounds and tremors that perhaps were kind of in the periphery, in the background, but now you can hear them as your ear is right against the stone and the earth. Every now and again, just this deep kind of boom, almost like the earth itself has like a heartbeat, and you can hear this distant grinding sound that eventually becomes kind of this ambient. It's like a white noise, and you're not sure if it's in your ears or if it's actually there. But
A random, every now and then we just hear like an earth whale.
the equivalent to that would be giant worms digging
Ah.
their way through.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with
And
that.
at any point, if they wanted to, could potentially burst in here and make a mess of things. But yeah, just these grinding and tremoring sounds in the deep that just constantly sound. And as you wake up, you feel even heavier than you did before. Actually, in fact, for Eirina, just remembered, Eirina, of course, you stopped breathing throughout the night, and you experience another dream within this shadowy desert that you've been experiencing day after day. Except here in this desert, you feel like feels like the desert is underground, and you're overlooking this massive expanse that's this titanic cavern, and you can tell it's definitely underground. There are stalactites hanging from the ceiling, but as you kind of drift out over this land, it's so huge that it almost has its own atmosphere. And in the center of this cavern, it looks like there's this giant rotating geode slowly spinning. It seems to have other smaller geodes in orbit around it, like it's a magnet. And you can see some of the sands kind of gathering up, being pulled towards it. They reach the geode and then they suddenly lose all magnetism and fall back down to the ground again. It's hard to make
Is-
out any colors.
Is that
during all of
constant?
this.
Like the stream of sand and then dropping it? Is that
Yeah.
constant or is it?
Yeah, it's like almost like a pulse of magnetism, and then the sand drops again. And you are not seeing any colors during all of this. This whole vision is in black and white and greys.
So dark vision essentially.
Yes. Yeah. And you're not sure whether what you're seeing is continuation of the vision, or whether you've been shifted because of being in a different plane. Whether you're seeing a shadow version of the Earth elemental plane. In any case, it's hard to maneuver around in this dream. Feels like you two are being magnetized by the geode, and as you try to wander away to sort of explore, feels like you're pulled again back towards it before being released, before you kind of
What happens
basically get
if I
impaled.
what happens if I go with the flow and just move towards it?
You can totally move towards it. If you fly kind of in a direction towards it, you find yourself standing on the geode on like the side of it, but realizing maybe its magnetism is pulling from every direction. So what is to say that the way you're standing is down or up?
You say this thing is
Have-
like pulsing, like a shockwave.
Yes, effectively. But it's not pushing, it's more like it's drawing. It doesn't repel at any
And
point.
it feels like I'm inside or underground or
You're underground, but the underground is so immense that it's like it has its own atmosphere. Like you can actually visibly see the partial clouds, or maybe it's just a light fog surrounding the stalactites. And you can feel a wind in this area as well, like rushing past your hair.
Which direction is the wind going?
Not any particular direction. It just seems to be flowing through here, like
Is
like
it
you
like
would
a
feel the
constant
wind.
stream or does it pause at all?
It does die down occasionally, yes. And
How
then it
often?
picks
Is there
up
like a
again.
pattern to it or is it literally just random?
The wind seems random, but the pulsing of this geode in the center definitely feels, what's the word? Repetitive, like almost like a metronome. But nonetheless, before you can figure out any more details as to this vision that you're having, you are woken up in the morning, and someone has to sort of make sure you're alive, but your breath does come back to you, and where your cold body was before, Candlewick immediately starts warming it back up again. The rest of you, you're probably feeling a little bit of an ache in your back, but it's not the worst. You're just getting used to the weight of this place and the gravity. I'll say that, Karius, you found your hammock is upside down somehow in the middle of the night. It's almost like gravity's pulled you up to the top of the room, so you've kind of twisted in the hammock and you're like just hanging on.
Karius just shrugs and drops out of it and then picks up his glaives.
Yeah, sure.
Or drops up. I don't know, with gravity at this point, and is just like, so get the benefits of a long rest, I guess?
You all gain the benefits of a long rest.
Yeah.
Yay.
I have a question. Did they mention that there was a library or something in this building?
Not so much a library, but there are some books in that rec room, but not a library.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go and nose wherever I saw books.
Okay.
Because after that vision, I have a theory, and I want to try and find information.
Okay. Go. In fact, I had an image for this, and I totally forgot to give it to you. But we'll start with that though. If you want, everyone else is kind of filing into the feasting room, but you take a right in the hallway and go into the rec room and start looking through some books. What did you want to look up?
Specifically, I'm looking for anything that talks about the history of this plane, or anything that might have maps, or anything about like historical sites in this plane.
Okay. That's sort of the similar looking geode that you saw. And that's the kind of foggy atmosphere and how the cavern is so huge, but it's kind of got this sort of fog
Zendikar.
everywhere. It is indeed from Zendikar. Yeah. And that's the size comparison as well, definitely. In the way that you're seeing those little tiny people on one of the hedrons. Yeah. That's how big this thing is. So as you're looking for like notable locations, and
I'm not necessarily looking for the history of the location. I'm looking for what the geographical points look like. So I'm looking for images as opposed to information.
Okay. Well, give me an investigation check first to see if do they have a book like this in their little library. It's really only a collection of a dozen or so books,
Keen?
and most of them don't have pictures either.
Okay.
But there are some that are just basic information, notable locations such as obviously the Great Dismal Delve you're already in. Sevenfold maze work is something you know about. But there are locations like the Pale River, the Iron Crucible. They detail quasi realms, basically where the Earth plane overlaps with water and where it overlaps with fire. Those are two notable locations. But you're not seeing a picture book in this particular set of books.
I'm gonna pull out my my journal, and I'm gonna, while it's in my head, draw what I saw in the vision.
All right. Okay.
Is there anything that would speak about the oddness of gravity down here? I mean, down here to these people, it's probably seen as normal, but is there a pattern to the shift, or
Most of them on this layer haven't really experienced altercations to the gravity, but some Chrismals, they're a type of race from here. You've only met like one, I think, so far. Some Chrismals here do have more information, we'll say, on the gravity. Chrismals are much more used to the high pressure within certain sections of the Earth elemental plane, being that they're comprised of crystals and almost like a gemstone-like material. So they're used to that pressure. So there does exist other areas where the gravity is much more intense and like crushing. And they would be the ones to maybe ask slash research when it comes to locations about that. So yeah, the book doesn't tell you about those locations. It just says the Chrismals are more adept at those locations. But I mean, if you get permission from Haran, maybe he'll let you go to a library within the Earth, within the first layer, first region, if there is one, which there might be. So, okay, the rest of you guys, you're all up early. Kesh'an, you're getting yourself fully fed for the brawl, I'm guessing. Doshi shows up and says, "Ah, yes, Kesh'an, we have organized a pit fight for you today. And as you are one of the new fighters, it is customary that the fighter gets to choose their opponent."
Wonderful. Who is it that you have in mind?
He pulls out a stone slab and says, "You have a selection of 4 different fighters here. There is." He places the tablet on the ground, and actually you can see it. Well, I don't know what language you speak, but he'll read it aloud in Terran anyway, and you understand him.
Yeah.
So let me just see. He has. Oh, I gotta go to the thing I've prepared. Ah, yes. You'll like this one. He is known as the Slate Slugger. He appears to be a Earth Genasi, very powerful build, quite adept at different fighting styles. But of course, he's earned his name from the heavy slugging like fist that he delivers to his opponents within the pit. Or perhaps you would better fare against this dwarf. And he reads the name. Ah, yes. This one's name is he's known as the Brookite Mule. And he is as stubborn as his name suggests. No one has ever delivered a knockout to this individual. That's not to say he hasn't lost a match, but that he has never actually been knocked unconscious. There are fights that can end on other technicalities. But the Brookite Mule is an experienced fighter, no doubt. And there are these other 2. This one's a goblin, not so well known as the others. But he seems to be quite a dexterous fighter by the sounds. Where he makes up for his small stature, he makes up for in speed. And then there is the other one. There is a Sandman as well. Quite a deadly combatant. He hasn't had many fights, but the ones he has had, well, let's just say he hasn't. The ones who fought him, they haven't fought again afterwards. Yes, it's supposed to be just a knockout, but some say that the knockouts he delivers are so severe that they are effectively done for life in terms of fighting in the pit.
Interesting.
Um,
What would you say would draw the biggest?
Biggest attention? I would say these 4 fighters are of equal prestige. Taking out one of them would be impressive. Taking out 2 would be, well, it would definitely stir the crowd and gain an audience of a larger reputation. The fights are organized today. All of these fighters will be taking part. You get to choose your preliminary fight, and then the winner of those 2 fights will then face off against each other. Does that make sense?
Yes. In that case, I think the first one.
You wish to go against the Slate Slugger?
I'll quickly
Yeah,
turn to the other. So
We don't have
what
to
do you
decide
say?
now. We can go to the
Oh.
pit and then decide. And just
Oh,
letting you know ahead of time the competition.
I'll take the goblin.
Yes, I think if the goblin. No, I want to save that. I want someone to start off strong. I'll get back to you once I have an answer.
Yeah,
I'm
come on.
saying I'll take the goblin.
Oh, you'll take.
You are not entered into these fights, I'm afraid. You are entered into the untrained bouts, and I can't tell you who your opponent will be. They might just drag someone off the streets.
I could bitch
Yeah.
slap a goblin.
It might be a goblin. It might be a minotaur. Whoever it is, they are as untrained as you claim to be.
I'm trained in the stuff I have,
Of
and you're
course.
taking that away from me.
I'm afraid so. So should we call the goblin Pebbles? Sounds adorable. Pebbles. Bam, bam. I think that's something for that. But for now, though, yeah, you can decide when you get to actually see them in the arena.
It's funny that you've named him a stone-based goblin, whereas in my other campaign that I was in, mine was called Crag, which was
Nice.
stone-based. That's funny.
Craig.
Crag, as in like a craggy rock.
I'm gonna want to name this guy. Okay, so anyway, can you talk amongst yourself while you're having breakfast? I'm just sort of sorting out actors and stuff.
No,
If you want to fast forward to the fights, you can.
this would be easier to talk if we could mentally communicate with Eirina. Shame no one has the ability to do that.
That would have been an idea.
I know, right?
No one got message.
No.
Oh,
Eirina is literally sort of just scribbling in her notebook.
Oh, I do have message actually. So I could-
Well, Taklo
but-
can technically communicate telepathically.
but I was just taking the piss because we don't have Velen anymore, and he did the Rare's telepathic one. But yeah. So I just messaged Eirina. I'm just like, are you okay? Are you nervous for your fight?
Oh,
No? Have you ever barefisted before?
no, but I've got a little pent-up rage at the moment. It'd be
Is it-
good to get it out one way or another.
Is it because you can't speak?
No, it's not.
What's up?
I don't do sleep.
Yeah, but we're not really slaves, are we? We could get
There's
out
an
of here if we
entire
want.
slave system down here. It still counts.
True. You want to go around and free them all? You know, after
We
we've done this
can't.
7
We don't have time for that. You can't uproot an entire system like this in less than 10 days. It's impossible. It's physically impossible.
Future conquest?
Maybe one day. But you can't undo
Again.
something like this in less than 10 days. It doesn't work like that.
No, not in 10 days.
It's just not realistic as much as I'd like to. But the room we were given, it reminds me of bad times. I don't really want to talk about it. I didn't sleep very well.
And sorry to hear that. Let's punch some people.
Yeah, it'd be good to vent somehow.
Okay.
Even if I get knocked the fuck out, I don't really care.
I can heal you afterwards.
Well, it's not to the death, so where's the harm?
Sure. Yeah, it's not the death.
I'm
So long
gonna
as you
like
don't go
also.
again.
If Elias is nearby, I'm just going to sort of turn around my journal and push forward and just kind of point and just be like, "You ever seen one of these?"
Have you ever seen one of those?
I was gonna name someone. The villains met, but you're not playing that. Apologies. You have not. No.
Hmm.
I assume you drew what you had in your dream.
Yeah, gigantic looking geode.
I mean, I
It's kind
wouldn't
of-
have mentioned the dream because obviously I'm not currently speaking, but
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm saying that out of character. I assume
Yeah.
that's what's on the page.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty cool rock.
Yeah. Do me a favor. You've got those weird boots now, right?
I do.
Okay. Anytime it sort of seems to shift you or anything changes and you feel it kind of almost teeter you off balance, give me a nudge.
Okay,
Have a thought.
but
But
that
it's not complete.
will that make you teeter off balance?
But like, I'm assuming like with the boots, you might see it or feel it coming or be able to pinpoint a source, whereas I'm probably going to be flat on my arse.
Oh, I see. Like feel where the earth tremors are coming from because the boots won't let me fall.
Yeah,
Whereas
like
everyone will
you'd
be
maybe
distracted.
be able to feel which direction it started from or headed towards.
That's a good point. I'll keep that in mind.
Cool.
Literally, it just looks like I'm doing sign language. Message spell. Message spell.
Okay.
And there's Eirina just like frowning at her paper. Like angry face.
It's the only way you can speak to her, as I say to what's it called, Doshi.
Yeah,
She can hear you, but she
I see.
communicates that way. If you're able to do that,
I am able to communicate in other ways. Yeah,
oh, cool.
I am a messenger
to talk
after
to
all.
him.
What good would a messenger be if I could not? And then you hear it telepathically, speak in your mind.
Huh. Cool.
He does cast message. You see him point, gesture, like gingerly with a long nailed finger.
You
All right.
can really do it on
Yeah.
Doshi.
Andy, I assume you don't want to get involved in these fights, right?
Not particularly, no.
Then do you want to help me on the marketing side of things?
That I can do.
Perfect.
Time to
All
spread
right.
the word.
Let's drag
That
you
word
guys
is
to...
Kia!
Yeah. Power Kia.
No, that's far too powerful. That's at least a 10th level spell.
I'm going to drag you to the Anvil Arena as everyone's ready to go. Doshi,
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I leave all my gear with Andi and Karius
Yeah.
for safekeeping.
okay, good idea. All
Yep.
right, Doshi begins to lead you. And as you start getting towards the arena through the marketplace, it's not so busy in the morning. You can see most of the stalls are shut, but that doesn't stop the pit fights. Apparently, even in the distance, you can already hear the shouts, the cheers as you draw closer and closer. And then you hear these kind of vicious growls and like hissing sounds. And you hear the guy calling out for bets. And he says, "Come on, anyone betting? We got chagrin fights going on.
Karius
Place your bet."
is gonna wander over. What are the odds on the Catman?
Oh, for those. Oh, they're the main event. Oh, these are just bets for the chagrins at the minute.
Oh, are those the unskilled ones?
No, see for yourself. And you see a big crowd of people that are actually up in like by the side of the pits, and you see them like jeering and fist pumping. And as you look down, you can see the arena is quite massive. It's probably about 60 foot by 35 foot. But inside that arena, they've also set up a smaller cage in between 4 pillars, and that cage has 2 vicious-looking moles duking it out right now, slashing and growling at each other. It's almost like cockfights, but between these strange
Um,
mole-like creatures.
Do you want to drag our tokens on so we can actually see?
Yeah, if you could do that, that would save me.
Yeah. Is there a particular
I'm
area
like,
you want
really-
them dragged in? Does it
No,
matter?
you can drag anywhere you like.
Nope. Probably not in the arena itself. Probably.
Yeah, just on the side if you could.
Oh, that Slate Slugger guy looks cool. I like the art for him.
Oh, the Slate Slugger, yeah, he's
Oh shit.
quite of a beast.
The Terror Mist
Yeah, you
also
should-
looks pretty cool. And the Brook
Terror Mist.
I take a little bit of space to one side, and I'm just like tapping on the ground, and I'm like, "Hey, armadillo guy, anyone here?"
What?
He doesn't seem to appear. No.
Always appear when you're not needed.
Karius just sort of thinks about the betting and is like, nah, I think I'm going to save my money for the big fights. But
There we go.
these
The
mole
goblin's name is Juckmug.
these mole things that are
Yes,
fighting, are they
chagrin.
a common thing down here?
Yes, they're like vermin. And I'll just give you another image of one in chat. They're like these kind of vicious mole things where they would have a skull, which exposed like bare bone, like almost like a cubone or a marowak, but it's their actual skull revealed, and they're just like clawing and snapping each other's jaws. So at the moment they're just like fighting. He says, "This is just in the meantime, whilst the other fights get better."
Yes.
Um,
So what comes first, the unskilled or the main event?
Oh, of course, it's going to be the unskilled. They send them a chef to whet people's appetite.
That's
After that, the real fights begin. And yeah, at that point, you see one of the chagrin claws the other across the face, and it whimpers and pulls back in the corner. And just before it goes in to finish it off, there's like a bell tolled, and a winner is declared. And the chagrin that won suddenly you hear this cracking of bone and this pulling of tendons and stretching as you see the mole stand up on its hind legs, and its head cracks and sort of merges forward, and you realize it's now turned into that of like a malformed humanoid mole. It stands up and it begins like fist pumping into the air, as the other one, still in mole form, whimpering in the corner. After that, you see the gates to this kind of cage are like lowered into the sand, completely buried beneath the sand as well. The sand sort of just simmers over it as you see someone come in and effectively clean up the arena of any blood. It just sinks beneath it. After that, he turns around and says, "All right, who we go first?" And yeah, he brings out a list of fighters that are about to go down and join the fray. So
Okay, Karius is going to put a. Just let me think a moment. 14 gold's worth of gems on both Eirina and Elias to win. So 14 on each, so 28 in total.
nice. Okay.
Did not hear me mention the 0 strength.
Yep.
I will put 150 gold on Kesh'an.
Oh, I wasn't betting on Kesh'an yet. I was wanting to. Now, I wanted to see who he picked as his opponent and what the odds would be first. See, obviously,
I still put 100. I put blind faith on Kesh'an, 150 gold.
Oh, you're taking bets that early. Okay. So whatever you want to bet, just type it into the chat for me, and that way
Yeah.
we'll keep a little tally of it. And in fact, we should probably put it in the Discord because that's about to get buried. I
No.
know I'll forget. I just know I'm just gonna forget what you guys bet.
Here's you.
Put it
I
in the
didn't bet 150 on Kesh'an. Who's trying to steal?
Alrighty. Yeah, chuck it in the Discord and there we go. Cool. Thank you. Alrighty, and so you can decide who you want to go first. There's no real order to these. All right, which one of you meat sacks is up first?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Sure.
How are we gonna do this?
Or we could just roll and see who gets the higher number.
That's what I mean.
Rollies.
We're rock, paper, scissors, but you know, we're just rolling dice.
You're scissoring.
All right.
Sorry.
Is it? Oh no. Well, that's not gonna go well.
Okay. 19. All right. Now I'm gonna roll randomly. That's the kind of I'm gonna roll randomly for their strength. Is basically what I'm gonna roll, and this will be just a d20. So I think Eirina, you're up first. It says, "All right, you, fresh meat, in the pit, no weapons." He looks over you and basically checks you out for any.
I've literally
Yeah.
left all my stuff with Andi and Karius already because I didn't want
Yeah.
anyone else taking it off me.
And he hands you a pair of wraps as well for your fists. Says you will at least want to put them on.
Yeah.
Unless
I
you
take
want.
off the sort of leather braces that I wear. And you'll see on
Mhm.
each wrist she's got like a key tattooed on either wrist. And
Oh.
she'll wrap and then she'll put the braces back on.
Yeah.
He looks at you and goes, "Nice tattoos. Let's see if your opponent has any or scars for that matter." Oh my god, I rolled a 4. Okay, you see this
Yeah.
I
very
stand a chance.
this poor elderly goblin is dragged onto the.
Oh no,
the-
not a goblin, man.
No, please, I'm too old for this shit.
Oh,
And
of all the things
he's
you could have given Eirina, an elderly goblin is not the one.
I mean, it could have been a baby owlbear.
he's dumped in front of you.
Do you need a new skull?
Look at this guy. He's got big, bushy white eyebrows that are like drooped down over his face. Little ears are drooped down. They're not like pointed up. They're like floppy bits of skin on the side
How
of his
am I
head.
supposed to vent my rage on an elderly goblin?
Knock him out.
Would you like me to insult you? Would that make it easier?
I can't speak to him. Oh no!
Oh,
I literally, I'm just like, forgive me.
Eirina, he's one of the goblins that enslaved the owlbear. I think those might have actually been gnomes, but still, pretend he's with them.
what? I did no such thing.
Yes, you did. Don't lie. You're just senile
Okay.
old man and forgot it.
Oh no.
I'm about to get my
Okay.
shit kicked in, and you're heckling me. This is just adding insult to
There's still a
injury.
chance he could beat me, to be fair. Let's not.
I do hope you might be by an elderly goblin.
Her weakness is her left leg.
Out of character.
Karius is just shouting random stuff.
Yeah, there's other people who are like, I'll put 3 coins on the bookworm over there. Bookworm? He
Something
looks at
of a
you.
bookworm.
Yeah, you look like one. And then the goblin's like, "All right, put him up, nerd. Let's go."
I'm literally a sword fighter.
Still not.
Well, ain't no
right.
swords in here. And he starts to circle you. And you see the Dow waste no time. He hits this loud gong. And the fight begins. So, let's see who goes first. We'll roll initiative.
I think I am going to go to bed now.
Mm.
Sorry, guys. I am very, very tired, so I'm going to head to bed.
I didn't
Okay.
click that. Who rolled for me?
I did.
Good night,
you
Kirstie.
first.
Right.
And I guess. Okay, Eirina, you're up first.
Okay, if this dude is circling me? Like he's pretty short, right? I'm assuming.
Yes,
Okay.
he's half your size. The rules for this game will become very apparent. We'll see.
I wasn't told the rules before I came into the ring.
No. The rules is in mechanics. There are no.
Oh. Okay. If he's starting to circle me, I'm going to sort of take a leaf out of Kesh'an's book, as it were. I'm going to drop down and sort of sweep my leg round to try and trip him over.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Roll me a strength check. This is effectively like shove to the ground.
Just a
Favoring
straight
it as a
strength, yeah.
sweeping attack. Yeah.
The 4.
Cool. He's gonna try and jump over it with his dex, which, by the way, ain't that great. Ooh, but he does manage to do it. Ah, saw it coming! And he leaps over your legs. And well, that's your turn, I guess. He immediately comes in for like a clock across the face, and we'll see what he gets. I think. What's your AC? Just flat AC?
That AC is. Oh
12?
god.
12. Okay. He's one short. Okay, so his fist comes narrowly close to your chin, but you manage to sort of, as you duck down, you kind of lean back even further and slide under him, kicking up the sand, almost into the stands. Adao, like, these two actually have some moves, it seems. They're not just going to be strangling each other's throats like the last two. All right. Okay, back to you.
Okay, so if obviously I've ducked into a crouch to sweep my leg, he's gone for a punch in the face. I'm going to headbutt him as hard as I can. I'm just going to smash my skull into his.
Alrighty. This time, just roll flat strength.
Yeah, use those brains to your advantage. You got a heavy head.
Hey!
Damn. Okay. You do 1 damage. Normally, it's D4 for like people who are like actually trained. But for this, you do 2 because it's a crit. So you do 2 damage plus your strength modifier.
0.
So 2 damage to him. But this is where it gets interesting. Rather than just having you guys slug it out 1 hit point at a time going down, untrained matches, we speed this up by going like this instead. He's going to roll his con modifier, and we'll see what he gets. He's a goblin, so he's got like a little bit of con. But it's a saving throw in this regard. Ooh, okay. I don't know why I didn't add his con. Should have some. So he takes that, clocked straight across the face, and you see like a tooth spit out, fly across, land in the sand, and you've landed a really good hit with that. He's quite winded, kind of staggers back, but he doesn't pass out. So he's actually maintained composure, which means his eyes, he looks like he's been rung, like his bell has been fully ringed, and he staggers forward and just takes a wild swing at you. See if he gets anything done. You can. Oh yeah. Oh, he's gonna miss. Straight away miss. And yeah, he sort of falls into you, almost collapses around your shoulders. Well, around your waist more like, and it's back to you.
If that's the case, if he's kind of like stumbled forward into me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put my hands together and I'm just gonna crack him with my elbows.
Okay. What is your con mod, by the way?
+3.
3. Okay. Cool.
Is it another strength?
It is, yeah. Strength. Flat strength.
That's a
7.
It's an
It
awkward
seems like
angle.
maybe he's using the drunken boxer maneuver, where he's just like falling forward and dodging at the same time. But yeah, he's managed to sort of stumble underneath your blow, making it very difficult when he's just sort of falling into you. As he gets up out of this clinch, he's going to raise his head and effectively like reverse headbutt you, trying to clock you in the chin.
Except he can't reach my head.
Probably not. Well, he'll jump at the same time. No, it's too short. It just goes wide. Back to you.
The best way to do this. I could just bring my knee up into his face now. So I'm gonna put one hand on his head and literally just kind of bring my knee up.
Yes, you can. He's going to enter into an evasive maneuver now. Yeah, you can still roll strength. But rather than against his AC, he's going to attempt to weave out of it. Now you've got to hit a 17. Sorry, you rolled the 17, didn't you? I rolled the 8. Yeah, you easily hit him. With that, I'm going to roll one more con save. And if he fails actually, no, he hasn't failed any. Oh, well,
Now
there you
he's
go.
failed.
So he's got 2. His modifier for his con is 2. So he can only sustain 2 hits effectively. His first save,
Yay.
he got a 19 plus 2, so it was 21. And that was enough to save. But when he rolled a natural one, it's basically 2. 2 on his death saves, we'll call it, his knockout saves. And he is immediately flat on the ground after that. He twitches a little bit, but you can see he's just like coughs. And you hear one of the Dal kind of laughing, saying, it was worth it to get him out of the way. I was gonna sell the slave, but he wasn't worth a penny.
Not dead though, right?
No, he's just twitching.
Okay, I'm gonna pick him up off the ground and sort of take him out of the ring.
He does fall. He falls unconscious on your in your arms.
Yeah, I'm gonna take him to wherever they're giving treatment.
Okay. He didn't even land a single punch on you. Okay. Yeah, there's a little triage in the arena where they don't do much medical help. They kind of just put him on a stone slab and let him rest it off. But you can attempt
can I
to.
see to him?
Medicine. Yeah, you can roll a medicine check.
This is 16.
Yeah, you stabilize the old geezer.
Okay, I like clean up all the blood and try to sort of patch his tooth that I broke.
Wait, he said something about he was selling me, but he'd rather just watch me die in the arena. Does that mean I'm free? I'm free. Thank you. Oh, he grabs a hold of your shoulders. You've freed me. You're my savior.
Is he actually free?
So the Dao does just as he's talking to the rest of the crowd. He says, "He was useless to me. The only thing he was left, the only thing that was worthy was having a bit of fun in the arena. I can't use him for anything else. And he sure as the hell isn't going to get bought by anyone."
Master gave Dobby a beatdown.
Yeah, he is. This guy is free. Literally.
Okay.
The Dao just disposed of him in a more entertaining way than just sending him into the mines.
Okay. Yeah, he's coming back with us later.
Yeah.
Consider that your prize. All right, next up.
That makes beating him up worth it.
I'm sure we can use him in our performance. Perhaps he can be the goblin in the box.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That sounds like a thing.
Sure. All right. Okay. We got a cage match. Next. And Elias, you're the lucky winner.
What? Cage match.
You heard him. Raise the cage.
Let's see.
And see
Straight from this
the
guy.
see around
Raise
the
the
sand.
cage. Raise the cage. Raise the cage.
That's what we like to hear in the Anvil Arena. Hammer them drums. All right. I'm just dragging this out. Why isn't it? How do I? Hold on a second. Trying to grab my cage. Oh, there we go.
Karius
Hey, there it
just,
is.
whilst this is going on, Karius wanders over to one of the DAO and it's just like, do you mind if I do commentary as this is going on?
By all means. The last one wasn't worth.
True.
Okay. Put it over there. And let's change this to be always visible. Always visible. There we go. Cool. All right. So, you see this guy dragged out? I'm gonna roll his strength. 17. Ooh. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a
no.
bit. These guys are a bit tougher than the others. You look around. He sees you, and he immediately like rushes into the cage. He's like, kind of like, warming up, flexing his muscles, cricking his neck. Doesn't look like a trained fighter, so to speak, but he knows. You can tell he's been in a few brawls at the very least. Okay. Why isn't it changing his modifier? No idea. Okay, so this guy's pretty strong. He's got an athletic build. He's a human, and as he runs in, he's actually got a big grin on his face, and he's like, "All right, this is my first time as well, but let's make it a good match, yeah? Shake on it.
Yeah, I do actually put my hand out to shake his hand.
All right, let's do it."
And we're starting off with a great show of sportsmanship as Elias, the twinkle toes, and the big muscly man whose name I don't know is shaking hands.
Is that
Oh,
Nick
it's Nick.
Cage?
That Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage! The Cage match! God, no!
A man who, for some reason, I'm going to call Nicholas, will be facing Elias in the cage.
Okay, let's do it.
God.
So, go ahead. Roll
God,
initiative.
14 by 18, I guess.
Okay, you.
D20
where are
to hit.
What did you get? Oh no, you gotta go first. You
14.
gotta go first to go hit.
Yeah, I got 14.
Oh, you got 14. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm just rolling random stuff. There we go. I can get rid of that. Okay, so this round, yeah, you can roll strength versus his dex.
My strength is 0, so I'm just rolling D20s.
Hold on, I'm gonna roll. You know what? I'm gonna roll for his dex. That's 15. Okay.
So that means
So
you've
you've got a
got
plus. You have a
2.
+2.
So he's...
And I'm also gonna roll his con. Oh dear.
he's frail as
Okay.
hell.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear. You got to get one hit on him and he's down.
I'm trying to think of a film when Nick Cage is really frail.
I get the feeling it's a matter of he's not been in this arena before, but he's been in fights before, and he's had a fair few concussions.
That's it. He's been in too many fights. That's the problem.
God.
Okay. So that's a natural one in your strength. Rough. He's gonna roll his dex, so it's 1d20 plus.
And
I
it's
thought you did roll his dex.
no, as
Yeah,
in
sorry, what I'm
dex
saying
hit.
is every time, rather than roll a hit, we're gonna roll contested strength and dex. I think that just makes it a little bit more entertaining. Okay, so he dodges and weaves out of the first punch, which is a feeble attempt, and maybe you're just feeling them out, but he sees you're kind of just playing it safe, grabs your arm and pulls it forward and raises his elbow out, and he's going to try and pull you onto his elbow.
So
You can roll dex to evade this.
yeah,
Ooh.
so I've gone into like a pirouette with spinning slap. So I assume he grabs my hand at one point as it comes in and pulls me in.
Okay, so you can roll dex, and I'm going to roll his strength.
Dex save, is it, or is it just dex?
Yeah, just a check.
And we got Elias spinning like a top while Nick brings in the elbow.
Oh,
God,
that was a low roll.
they were both really bad. Both end up pirouetting into each other, and basically, it looks like you're hugging.
And it
Look at you
appears,
there.
and it appears, guys, you realize it's a fight, right? You can cuddle afterwards.
Does this still show sportsmanship? Because this looks a bit too friendly.
I think they may be developing a budding romance during the combat.
Okay, back to your line.
So that's my
Oh,
strength.
better roll my dex. +2. Oh!
So
dear.
so after hearing that, I look at the guy and I sigh, and in a sort of capoeira way, I basically run up and just flip kick him
Flip
in the-
kick him. Oh,
in the jaw.
that's devastating.
I have good
Okay, so
acrobatics, so
And that is a devastating blow. They went from hugging to backflip kicking, and Nick's gone flying. Will he get up?
Really? Let's see. He lands and a crater of sand around him erupts. You have to clear the dust and you'll see if he gets up or not. With the 17,
it's
he
my eight.
barely... yeah, I was thinking of editing the rules just real quick. But he had to dodge your ace. He had to dodge your roll to hit, obviously. But now I'm sort of thinking these are more like death saves to see if he's actually conscious or not. And he only gets one of these. As soon as he fails one, he's out. But he does raise up out of the ground.
And
Like
he's
just
and he's back on his feet. It seems that kick didn't have quite the force it needed. Well, perhaps Nick's just too hard-headed for a blow to the head to really do much damage. Who knows?
So I did that and then landed on my hands in like a handstand sort of way.
it's like I hit my tongue.
Ooh.
And he rushes forward and tries to spear you.
Oh.
And we're gonna just roll.
Sorry, I'm just imagining that with the fact that he's in a handstand at the moment. That is oddly positioned.
No!
All right, he slams you up against the cage. And your head gets battered against it. You can roll me a con save. DC is just 10.
Con save.
Yeah,
Okay, I can't get less than a 10.
can't.
Oh, he's got a plus 11.
So you do.
So basically he has to nat 1. I guess.
Said roll me a con
These
save.
rules aren't going to work, are they? How many? What is your con mod? 5. Oh my.
Yeah, why
I-
is he?
max
That's
con.
why he's got such high HP. He's a
Yeah, that's
bard
it.
with maxed out con. It's weird.
Okay. You slam. You feel your head is a little rattled from it, but you kind of shake it off. No problem. You're okay.
Yeah. And Elias
just
goes
light
with the
bruising.
flow. He's used to dishing out that beat, so now he's going to use his fancy feet, maybe.
Okay.
Karius just
Go ahead.
narrating.
So
Elias. Oh, I think he's going down this time.
So I've been slammed against the cage, upside down because I was on my hands when it happened.
Yes.
I grab him with my legs and I barrel myself over and chuck him across the cage using my legs.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
trying to make heads and tails of that. But you know what? It's pretty neat. Oh my god, natural 20. He's kind of equalized. He should be down.
So
The cage
chucked
is still
him over
standing.
here.
It seems
Oh,
that
he's
Nick
trapped.
has gained some sort of strange power in the cage. He just won't go down no matter how hard he's hit.
Is he still going? Well, we're both.
Yeah, he looks boss-eyed at this point.
Alright.
He should be down, but a natural 20 means he immediately gets off the ground. Well, he's on the ground probably still. He's probably going to grab onto your legs and try to drag them from out underneath you.
So much admiration for this person right there.
I know, I can't believe he's pulling it back. 15 to try and get you. You can roll your dex. Sorry, it's 17.
It'd be nice if I rolled decent for my decks.
You got 17.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, okay. He's dragged your feet down. I'll say that you land on the ground, but he's trying to land punches on you on the floor, and you're able to evade them, and he's basically hitting the hard sand either side of your head.
I kick back and move out his range, and then you know how martial artists that push themselves up? Gonna do
Yeah.
that, but corkscrew myself into a kick.
Ooh.
I'm not
I thought
professional.
this was supposed to be an untrained match.
I'm not a professional, so it looks a little bit janky, but
He's a professional dancer. He's just using the moves.
I am a professional dancer, to be
Mm.
fair.
Okay.
Oh, come on! Please.
He is out of there. As you get up off the ground and you're spinning towards him, you realize the target's gone. He's not even in front of you anymore.
Let's land on the
And
cage over here.
you look up and he's dangling from the top of the cage. And he
He's
looks down
drop
at
on
where
there.
you land, and he just lets himself go and
drop.
begins to drop down with
Yeah.
hopefully landing on your shoulders.
and
Yeah.
it's Nick from the top cage with a body slam.
Oh no. He misses.
I,
Usually,
so,
yeah.
so I corkscrewed, stood on the side of the cage. He went above, he dropped down, and I just flattened myself against the cage. And then I'm gonna come down with a double-fisted punch.
Oh, okay. I'll say because he probably landed on the floor at this point. He's probably at disadvantage. Probably finish him off. He's in such a bad position right now.
Come on.
Oh,
Oh! It hit.
Well, I've got +2. What have you
Oh.
got to that? What's your
Plus
deck?
0.
Oh, sorry, your strength.
Plus 0.
So I've got 4 as a total.
but as he's prone, wouldn't Elias have advantage?
Oh yeah. Yes.
It's not- You'd have to get a
Go
nat
ahead.
one.
You can re-roll that.
Or I can re-roll. It's not
Yeah,
here.
yeah. He's on the floor. Yeah. Normally he'd be in a position to defend himself, but
And he brings
being
down
on the
his
floor-
fist like a rock.
Good analogy. All right.
yeah, crack against the head.
Concept?
Last con save.
Come on.
Yeah, there it goes. He's out. Stone cold. Yeah, you see, he's just like gives you a thumbs up, but collapses and
And
has
it looks like
several
that's a
cuts up.
knick-knack Elias whack, and now it's time for him to go home.
I pick him up and put his arm over my shoulder and drag him out. And as we're going, I lift his arm up as well.
Now, what a terrific show of sportsmanship in the cage.
You know, it's always good to see these guys showing a bit of respect. You don't see that with the train matches. It's their pride on the line. But with these guys, they got nothing to lose.
They got nothing to lose, but everything to bruise.
You're like up in the booth with him, like you've already made a friend with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, the 2 commentator captains. Pushy over here.
All right, a quick break before the train matches come on. So we'll have some Chagrin fights and get yourself ready. And he looks to you and goes, beverages?
Yeah, beverages
Like-
sounds good.
Uh,
So-
he-
Whilst we're waiting on the Chagrin fight, who's your money on in the big fight? Who you got your eyes on?
Probably Brook-eyed Mule. The guy has never been knocked out.
Ooh, that's a good claim. I mean, ooh.
That being said, I've seen what Teramis has done to his opponents, and it is...
Does he
It's
tear him
messy.
apart?
effectively, yes. Supposed to be unarmed, but,
Well,
I mean, he's made of sand, and he
yeah.
turns his sandy hands into, like, almost like blades.
Mm.
I don't even know if that's allowed, but hey.
If it's unarmed, how? I mean, obviously the slate slugger's got kind of like those spines sort of on him, but say that cat man over there. I mean, cats normally have claws. Does that technically count as unarmed?
It does. Same with how Minotaurs can use their horns.
So it's
Oh,
just you
except for-
just say if your body's got it, you can use it. Interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So How have you been
Alright.
enjoying the fight so far? I thought the first one, it's an old goblin, but that second one had a lot of heart in it.
Yeah, they both had some moves.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they moved up to the professional leagues in the future.
I almost forgot I was watching an untrained match for a second. All right. Okay, so Kesh'an, you've been in the stands for a while now, and you're probably in the You can also move down into like the arenas, like training rooms, the prep rooms. I'm going to say
Okay.
you can size up all 4 of these contestants, and you can choose which one you want to fight. I'll move them into the middle so you can have a better look of their tokens. So the the goblin is definitely the smallest build of them all, but it seems like he's quite fast on his feet. You see him up against a what's it called? One of those. It's like a punching dummy, but it's made of like
Yeah,
wooden.
with the I don't actually know what those are called, but I know what you mean. The ones with like the wooden poles, and as you're hitting them, it sort of spins and you can block and stuff.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I know. What
they're
you mean.
mostly used for like training martial arts and such. And he's blocking and pushing and using these moves at blisteringly fast speeds. So he's pretty quick. The slate slugger, he seems to be quite balanced. He's got a punching bag full of sand, and he's pummeling it with heavy fists. And he's not just using raw strength; he's also got quite a good technique as well.
Yeah.
And you see, he moves on to one of those boxing things which like rattle. I forget what they're called as well. But as that thing kind of swings back and flies at his face, he's quite adept at dodging it out of the way and punching it back. And then at one point, you see him go from this kind of balanced sort of maneuvers to suddenly this burst of strength, and he punches and splits um, the actual sandbag itself. He does so in like this kind of massive wind up punch, but then he releases like 4 punches one after another in like an instant, and it splits the sandbag, and you just see sand pouring out onto the ground. And he kind of cricks his neck, and you see this massive amount of flint for like hair. And he just looks at you with a stony expression on his face, and just nods.
Yeah, I'll just nod back. And the fucking cat.
That's what we say to you.
That's our line. And
So can we, while this is happening, because
Sorry about that. So, I'll kind of like walk past them, just giving like the normal nod of acknowledgement, maybe not respect, but just like hello. And I walk over to one of the punching bags, and I just kind of size it up, just kind of look over to see if anybody is watching. And I throw a punch at it, and it is weak as shit, slow as shit, and even the sandbag itself just makes like a little pathetic like. Yeah. And I'll just kind of like take a step back and just look over to the other side.
You see the goblin. The goblin raises his eyebrow, but you see the courtesy of that. A slate slugger is just like completely emotionless. The other two are a little bit unnerving. Teramis sits in the corner, seething, like he's got this glaring face and he's sneering at you, and you don't see him performing any training. The only thing you see him do every now and again is he swirls the sand in his hand. It comes to an incredibly sharp point,
and he gestures it across his neck like that, and then folds his arms
Happily
again.
wave back to him.
He just sneers again in your direction.
On the counter.
Goodness. And the last guy is. Oh, yeah, he's good. The last guy I've got full artwork for, and take a look at this monster. He looks like he's already been in 5 fights today, possibly just from training, possibly just because pissed off his master. Who knows? And maybe he's been beaten to shit. This guy is muscle galore. He's got tattoos all over his body and this big red gingery looking beard. His knuckles are like calloused. They look like he's got like brass knuckles in his fist, but they're actually bare skin. Yeah, this guy's a dwarf of epic proportions. It looks like he's got a tally on one of his arms as well, where he's been, counting how many fighters he's already knocked down. This guy, I'm gonna. How do I describe his physique? Yeah, it looks like he's taken beatings upon beatings and walked away as if he's just shrugged off every single one of them. His training, he's got this large stone slab in front of him, and at first you thought this was like a bench to be sat on, but kind of quiet for the most part. And then when he hears the bell, the gong announce,
All right, the next fight is coming up. This one will be between 2 trained combatants.
that's when you suddenly see his eyes go wide. You see a vein pop on his head. He goes over to the slab, puts both fists in a hammer, lets out this bestial roar, and slams down into the stone, and he snaps it in two. And you can see he's heavy breathing afterwards, like.
Man's a barbarian,
And,
of course.
That's all 4 of them. He's working himself up. So, out of these 4, who do you want to face?
Did any of them find humor in my little display?
Yeah, you'd say the goblin kind of gave you a little. He kind of gave you a nervous grin and smirk, but he gave you like an A-OK. The other one seems emotionless, slate slugger, and the Terramis seems to just hate your guts for no reason at all. And the Brookite mule doesn't even seem to acknowledge your existence, and he seems to be just in a fit of pumped up adrenaline.
I think I'll go for the. I'm kind of torn between the goblin and the slate.
Okay.
Flip a coin.
Yeah.
You can tell by the way each one of these is obviously a different type of fighter, different fighting style. They are all trained in. They are all trained in unarmed.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll a D2.
Okay.
So, 1 slate slugger, 2 gobbo. 2
Go
gobbo.
Jug mark it is.
So,
All right.
can I pep talk Kesh'an?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I go to him like, right, Catman, this is gonna get us the views for our performance. You got this. Wait, you're taking the goblin? You could do so much better than. It's fine. You got this. You got this, chap. I spin him round and slap his ass into the arena.
You see him kind of like dusting off his hands, and there's like chalk flying about the place. It's like, oh yeah, I've got this in the back.
And when I slap his ass, he feels a special warmth of inspiration.
This is going to be fun. I was thinking about starting off small and then working up to the big shows because everybody likes a finale.
So you're inspired. You get a D10, your choice.
Awesome, thank you.
Before you enter, the large bouncer here, the referee, stops you and says,
All right, off with the gear.
Cam?
Can't wear any magical items into the arena.
Oh, of course. I would have offloaded things like Egbert
Yeah.
over to everybody else.
Yeah,
and
probably
myself and
Andy's
things.
got Egbert and Karius has everything else.
And as Elias kind of like entered me in, I would have handed the pouch over.
okay. But he gestures towards the cloak.
He says, "That's a cloak of displacement, isn't it? That would give you a
Oh.
clear advantage."
How silly of
Did you dust your
I
hands?
know what
before
that
you
is.
went
These fights are intended to be quite fair. Your combatant is, according to Doshi, of at least relative training as you are. So you'll be on equal footing. This is to make sure the crowd gets maximum entertainment and value out of it. You understand, yes?
Of course.
All right.
Elias just holds out his hands for the cloak.
Okay. You're not to kill your combatant. As soon as he ceases function, then you are to leave your opponent alone. And a referee will intercede.
That would be how I prefer anyway.
Is
Good.
this going to be same rules or is this a full on like fight?
This is a full-on fight.
You might want to put
Oh,
your health to max.
Yeah, you
Oh
want
yeah.
You should have had a long rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And it-
yes,
and
you
it
have
looks
got
like
all
the-
your gear.
It looks like the cat man is resorting to stereotypes and going after the small creature. Cat and mouse. Let's see how the fight goes.
All right. He says the same to the goblin who walks in, and he's got nothing but like a little loincloth on. And he steps up. He's got this kind of greyish complexion. Looks like you could even mistake him for like a deep gnome. And then he grins, and you see those pointed canine teeth, and that's when you know, yeah, he's definitely a goblin, all right. And he puts his hands together like this, and takes a bow at you.
I'll do the same with a cheerful smile.
All right. Give me an insight check as well as he begins to take a stance. It's strange. He mirrors your stance, but when I say mirrors, what I mean is he does your stance before you even do it. So actually, it looks like you're mirroring his, but you realize he was already in that stance before you had a chance to do
I'm
yours.
pretending that I don't know what I'm doing.
Sure. All right. So he looks at you and looks to the referee and then looks back. And the referee hits the gong and says,
All right. 3, 2, 1. Begin.
and the gong is rung. And let's roll initiative. Actual fight.
So in this fight, big guy, who's your money on? I'm obviously
Well-
the cat's got the size advantage, but
I'm always skeptical with new fighters, but he looks like he knows his stuff. This looks like it to be an even match, you know.
yeah,
Chuck Mug, he's quite the martial artist. Everyone has underestimated him up till now.
Ooh.
So you're about to see what he's capable of.
maybe that's part of his whole thing. He makes you underestimate him and uses that to his advantage. It's a good technique.
It looks like the Tabaxi is also running the same gig as well.
Mm.
That's clearly a fake stance.
The goblin monk rushes in, and you can tell immediately this is a trained martial artist, not just some brawler, not some boxer. He rushes in and skids basically through your feet, rises up on the other side in as quick a speed as he went down, and begins letting out these quick, rapid punches towards the lower back. And I'll see what he gets. 14 misses. Your
Miss.
AC will be
17.
17, right? Yeah. You've not got any modifiers to that.
No, I never did anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, cool. 17 to hit. You're going to be surprised when you learn of his as well.
And then
17. There it is.
Oh,
Okay.
and that is a blow straight to the Catman's back.
This blow feels like he's displaced a joint in your spine. Can you give me a
I'm sorry?
Constitution saving throw?
yeah, of course.
Oh no.
Ooh.
That's done.
I can add my inspiration.
You could if you wanted, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a D10.
Yep.
That makes it 11.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is still a fail, I'm afraid.
Oof.
And you are stunned up as this guy's hit a pressure point in your spine. Oh, you're at crack.
I like this game.
That doesn't feel.
Juckmug hit him with a precision straight to the bat. Looks like it's caused the Catman to seize up. What will
Okay.
he do?
I'll make sure I spend the key to do that.
Will Juckmug capitalize on this advantage, or is he gonna wait and see what happens next?
I'm gonna, whilst you're stunned up, might as well burn the flurry of blows, which is another 2.
With
No, it's 1 key.
advantage.
Gonna have advantage. All right. And they just keep coming. These little tiny jabs towards your back. Oh, sorry, that should have been advantage. So it would have been 7 plus 10, 17. Yeah, that would have hit.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just do damage.
Oof.
Max damage as well. Yes.
Devastating blow.
Look at him go. He's like a little ninja.
And that's his go. As you find he gets another 2 hits into your back. Whack, whack.
It's
And,
basically
well-
his turn again.
Yep, you're stunned. Back to him with advantage. And he's going to go whack, whack. So, should have been advantage, right? Working. Just roll a d20, see if it crit. Okay, I didn't. Alright. Another hit and another stun. We're going to go keep you stun locked.
Oh no.
He's burning the key. That you pass. Okay. He's over-exhausting that one little spot, and your body's already reacting to it, resisting and hardening that place, sort of reverting, sort of redirecting your chi into that one place. Okay, so his repetitiveness might be his downfall, but he's got an extra attack. Maybe he can keep up. Yep, another hit. And you're right, I don't seem to be rolling advantage, do I?
No.
Oh god, it was a crit. Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna roll
Well,
another load.
that second one wouldn't have been with advantage because he's no longer stunned.
He's stunned until the end of.
Until the end of his.
Oh yeah, he just didn't get stunned again. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I always forget how that works.
Indeed. I needed -5 from that. You can have 5 health back. There you go.
Thank you.
I think. And then what should we do? Burn another flurry of blows? Might as well.
that
while
was
you're
his-
stunned.
That was his bonus. Attack.
He's done 1, 2. He's done 2 hits so far, hasn't he?
It's just that he re-rolled to for the
Oh.
extra damage for the crit.
Yeah, that wasn't me rolling to hit. I clicked damage, but it seemed to like it rolled anyway. So you can ignore this one. I'm going to do a bonus action flurry of blows again. And spend all my key.
To be honest,
Down,
that might
down,
be to your
down.
advantage that he's burning it before you get a chance to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, how do we make sure it's shift not rolling. Need to fix that. All right, so 9 points of damage. Okay. What is it to do a patient defense? Is it just a
That's part. You'd have to do that instead of
That would
flurry
be
of
a
blows.
bonus.
instead of a flurry of blows?
So it's either
Right.
flurry of blows or patient defense
Or
or
step
dash
for the wind.
or disengage.
Okay, we can do another stunning strike on this hit, though, can't he?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Send it.
Burning a key
Okay.
to it.
Yep, burning key. I'm down to 8. Okay, nice, very nice. So his last hit, still at advantage, and that's a 26.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, he's pretty strong. Okay, yeah, it was 26. 11 points of bludgeoning damage, and yeah, screw it. One last
Oh
stunning strike.
god, he's really burning through it.
That is a save.
Oh,
Just
fuck.
barely a
Thank
save.
Okay, which
You feel like you're pummeling into one area, like he's drilling. It feels like a jackhammer in the back of your spine, and just when you feel like it's about to break, you steel yourself and manage to hold on. He has finally finished his go.
which means he's got at most 16 wisdom. We know he's got 5 dex, so he's got at most 18 AC.
Alright.
And the techniques he's using to stun you is exactly the same as yours. The Douse commentator speaks up and says,
All right, finally time for Kesh'an's retribution. See what he can dish out.
Yeah.
your turn.
Lucky.
Sean like spits. Oh, gone.
I was going to say, lucky the cat has 9 lives, because I feel he might have just lost a couple from that beatdown.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Sean
Kesh'an.
spits on the ground, wipes his mouth. He's like, strange. It's almost as if you were trained in my own monastery. And I go into my full stance and I lunge forward with an open palm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a
And
devastating
yeah.
counter.
Studs.
And I'll get a con save of my own.
Will you know? No.
And that's a fail.
Yeah.
And then,
Very good.
However, in my monastery, you would have seen that coming. And as he locks up, I bring my leg round as a sweeping leg, but it's head height. Whack.
At advantage.
yeah, roll that
Because-
extra
Oh,
d20.
Yeah, it didn't actually.
I think
Yeah.
that's not working for some reason.
I don't know. I'm gonna look up.
Was no crit.
So that's the second hit.
Bonus action called Flurry of Blows. Just keep this rolling.
Looking for.
Oh,
With
reroll.
advantage, of course.
advantage, yeah.
Roll the attack.
Yeah.
That one
Yeah,
would have missed.
definitely a miss.
It's third hit. Whoa!
Hold up. Ooh.
that's
Oh wait, no,
14
that's 14
dice.
plus 10, so
Yeah, yeah.
24.
You missed the attack. Just roll the.
Uh,
roll the
So that's 12 points.
12 point. I'll make sure I'm doing it. Ready?
And that's another devastating blow, though. It seems Juck Mug still has some fight in them, because even while stunned, they seem to be able to weave out of some of those moves.
I also
Mhm.
realised I should have said that was disadvantaged on his con save anyway.
Okay.
And also he drops to the floor as part of my flurry of blows.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Mhm.
So my turn again. Kesh'an will jump up and bring a knee down into him as he's on the floor.
Oh, you're always buried in the sand.
And a con save.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If
You can
you
stun.
re-stun.
Disadvantage as well.
That's fair. As I'm stood on top, I'll chop to the neck.
Okay, yeah, keep
Oof.
going.
Oh,
Yeah, that would have
Definitely
failed. Another flurry of blows. Okay. In fact, no, this is just going to be a bonus action for the head.
Thank God for
Keep
your
rolling.
advantage. So that's 21.
That's
Oh, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
that's plus 10, so 21.
So roll your
Damage.
So
I guess.
damage.
12
Oh.
points damage.
Oh, you're really
Yeah.
liking the 12 damage. So third one.
How's he looking?
He's looking bloodied. Oh yeah, he's cracked against the face. See blood spewing out every direction. His eyes are already swelling up.
I'll pick him up and I'll kind of do this like fucking epic spin as my legs kind of whirlwind towards him and boot him into the pillar up here. So
Kesh'an really dishing out those
25 there.
blows.
Bicycle kick. Bicycle kick.
yeah.
Looks like he's
but,
locked him up.
as he's up against the pillar, I'll
Yeah,
move
it
to the
seems
side,
that
kind
Kesh'an really had the key there to lock him up.
of gonna sprint up the wall and I'll boot him in the head.
Okay. Yeah. Oof. Oh man.
That looked like a ringer.
You probably like slammed him into the gong.
The round's not over yet, though.
Mug looks like he's still got some fight left. He's still breathing at
action.
least.
He is still breathing.
bonus action attack.
Don't forget, you might need to stun him again.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's a crit though.
Okay, he's gonna use second chance. And I've been saving this for just a crit. Just as you're about to slam into him, there's this sudden brief moment where his eyes flutter. He sees it coming and blocks and weaves your attack away. Can you roll again?
Can you do that while he's stunned?
He can do that whilst he's stunned.
I mean, he
Okay.
did roll again and he got a 21.
This is a feat that he has. So
Okay.
you've got to. When a creature hits
28.
you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction.
Ooh, so close.
Force that creature to reroll. Okay,
28.
so it's not a crit, but you still clock him right the face. Oh,
Okay.
God. Yeah, just make it's like a lucky. But... All right. Unfortunately for him, as soon as he weaves out the attack, he's wide open as he's kind of both hands are out to the side like this, and you can come round with a hook. And how do you want to do this? He's out.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So as he kind of blocks the attack, I can imagine it's as you say, he kind of brings it up as I'm about to boot him in the chest, lifts it up, and as I spin in a big backflip doing 3-point landing, I just look up at him in his exhausted state, say, "Welcome to the monastery of the frozen flame." Was straight into the chest, like the solar plexus.
Oh,
Blood spurt out of his mouth, spits up into the air, and then lands back up down onto his face.
Dust everywhere.
And I
Yeah.
think we have a winner. Cat caught the mouse.
Referee immediately rushes in and shoves you away, and looks down at the goblin.
Function cease. That is a winner.
He grabs a hold of your arm, raises it up, and everyone is like shocked that this new fire, this new blood has just come into the arena, and just.
Andi will start playing Kesh'an's theme song
Oh yes.
across the stadium.
Oh, how could we forget? There's
And
a few voices joining. Seems
Yeah.
they know.
Karius just sort of raises a hand to his ear like he's been sent like a message. It's like, and it appears we've got some news in. For those who want to see more of the mighty Kesh'an, they need to attend the bardic performance coming up in a day or so, where he will be performing there as well, showing off more feats of skill, but in a different way.
Isn't there a round 2?
I don't know.
Is there a round 2?
There is. Yeah, stick around for our after combat analysis of that fight. We'll break it down, every punch, every swing. So it looked like Karius that really the key to winning this battle was to be able to strike first, land that stunning blow, and keep them locked down. Kesh'an, though, showing that resilience. It's like he hardened his spine into steel. I don't know how. That should be probably splinters by now. If I got hit 8 times in the same place, I need surgery out of that.
Well, he's one tough cookie. Perhaps, I don't know if you've seen it with cats before, they seem to be able to flex their spine a lot more than most. Perhaps he actually managed to move part of it out the way to avoid some of the damage. Certainly possible. That would be such a weird ability to see, though. I'm just imagining literally someone's spine moving out the way.
You hear a Mexican wave across the crowd of, "That's racist!"
when Kesh'an comes in, by this point I've probably got my stuff back. I'll start tending to his wounds with an aura of vitality.
Nice.
Bring them up to full 20d6.
We'll resume in a few moments while we give our fighters a rest. Actually, we'll have another fight afterwards against, and we're going to roll for it. The Slate Slugger, the Brookite Mule, or the Terramist. And I'm going to roll for the first one. Slate Slugger is 1 to 2. Brookite Mule is 2 to 3. 3 to 4. Terramist is 5 to 6. It's going to be the Slate Slugger versus 1 to 3 on Brookite Mule versus the Terramist. So don't even get to see the dwarf, which is probably for the best, because barbarians are broken in this type fight.
The only chance you would have against a barbarian would be if you got the first thing as a monk and stunned him before he had a chance to.
Yeah. Oh, he's stacking con though, right?
Yeah, but
and he's got advantage on not advantage. He's got a proficiency on the save.
True, but if Kesh'an had his chalk on to give the disadvantage again,
True.
Could give him
that would
edge.
help. The only one that wouldn't work on is this Pyramid. He's now mental. So if this guy wins, Kesh'an's a little bit. He won't be at a disadvantage, but he will have trouble. So these two are going to fight it out, whilst you guys can roleplay amongst yourselves.
Well, looking at the time, would that be a good time to...
I was just going to say, I have to go.
I did.
Early tomorrow.
Nah, that's fine.
Alrighty.
And it seems we're about to enter our halftime show. Tune in this time next week for the next round of combat. But for those who want to enjoy the halftime show, join us Sunday for the Carnival Cards. Very entertaining there. Or for a more horror-based thing, join us in What Lies Beneath, where we go even deeper below the Earth plane in the Underdark.
Nice. No, the thing the episode freeze frames on the ending with the Slate Slugger rushing in for a haymaker, and Terramist is lunging forward. They're just clash.
Is it going to be like those anime where most of the episode is a recap?
Yeah.
And you get 5 minutes of new footage?
It goes into a freeze frame, but the outside just starts to blur.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Speed lines. Speed lines. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
No.